I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game.
If you're looking for the best basketball talk in the universe, you just found it. This is Deep Hoops, where fans are the host. Tim Brayboy, Troy Ramel Royal, and me, your point guard, Jehudi. We're talking basketball, all basketball, and nothing but basketball. So sit back and enjoy the best basketball talk in the podcast universe. This is Deep Hoops.
Well, I'm the minister.
And I'm Rob.
I think they know that already, though, right? If they've been watching, they know that, right? But we'd like to welcome you, Ra and the minister, to another episode of Deep Hoops. What's going on, Ra?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing outstanding, man. You know, we always start the episodes off with the week in review.
Yes.
Talking about what happened in the week previous. And there's a couple of things that I want to touch on.
Sure.
And I got to get started with the game last night. Dude, San Antonio. So we're filming this on a Sunday. And we're talking about the game that played on Saturday night. Now, before I go into the game, one of the things that stood out in my mind is last season, we got robbed of these tight, nice, beautiful games because the superstars decided that they would sit out.
On a Saturday night.
On a Saturday night. A primetime game. ABC was paying all this money, and they decided they would sit out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. and then you wonder why people get upset with these players, man.
Right.
We'll deal with the refs and the players down in a minute. But last night, nobody sat out. Marcus Smart didn't play because he was hurt.
He was hurt.
And that was a big, people say, well, you look at the stat line and that wasn't a big loss. Yeah, that was a big loss. That was tantamount to Draymond Green not playing.
And you've heard me say it here, and I've shared it with you. I actually think that Marcus Smart is Boston's Draymond Green.
Yes.
Just a smaller size. He brings you everything that he has. He brings it every night. He defends from the 1 to the 3. He plays off the ball. He brings the ball up. And he's their emotional leader.
Right.
And they could have used him last
They could have
time.
used him. They could have used him because on some of those plays, they could have at least, I don't think you could have slowed Curry down.
No.
Or stopped Curry. You may have been able to slow him down, but you weren't going to stop Curry. Curry was in Curry mode.
And it's another look you can throw at him.
Right.
Because one thing about Curry, and make no mistakes about it, guys, he's one of the better players in the game. He's a fantastic player. But if you get a little aggressive with him,
Exactly.
a little physical with him,
the schoolyard.
you can rattle him a little bit.
little rattle.
And I think Marcus Smart could have did that from time to
smart.
time.
He's smart enough to rattle.
Yeah.
And get up under his skin just a little bit. Yeah. Just like Draymond Green does with players.
Exactly.
And so, but that game, watching Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry just go at it.
Battle. And
Mano a mano.
And they're not new to it.
They're not new to it, but they're true to it.
And the thing about it, they're familiar foes.
Yes.
And they've been in the last 3 finals. So there's some familiarity between the two.
Without a doubt.
And they did not disappoint.
No, they didn't.
Curry
They did not disappoint.
Curry finished with 49 and gets the victory.
Was it 49?
Yeah, 49.
49.
49. He gets the victory. And Kyrie Irving had 37 in the losing cause. I think they were a timeout away from maybe sending it into overtime, as Kyrie Irving was forced to miss the last free throw,
Right.
to try to get a tip in or
Tip
something.
in or something, right.
But what a game it was.
What a game.
And I got it. I mean, I'm not gonna take nothing away from the players, and especially the play of Kyrie Irving. But to me, this is about Brad Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. This is about Brad Stevens. I'm watching the game, and I see the pass it to Tice over in the corner for a 3. He's shooting it like it's Larry Bird. I mean, where do they find this guy?
Who's a better coach? Brad Stevens or Spoelstra? Because what he's doing with that ragtag squad, and no one made the All-Star game on that team.
I believe Brad Stevens is the better coach than Eric Spoelstra. I'm not
barely.
This is not a knock on Spoelstra, but the reason why I would say Brad Stevens is because what he's done with Boston and what he's done in Butler University. You know, taking unknown talent, maybe B minus C level talent to back-to-back finals.
Okay, but wait a minute. You know more basketball than I do. You
Wow.
follow it far more than I do.
Wow.
I mean, and far more than a lot of people out there.
Wow.
Name 5 Miami Heat players.
Oh, I can name.
But not you.
Okay.
not you.
But
Y'all name 5 Miami Heat players, all right?
But the thing is, I get your point. And again, this is no knock on Eric Spoelstra.
Right.
Somebody's got to be better. You know?
Right.
And I believe in Brad Stevens. Right now, and I kid you not, right now, if I need a coach for a year, I'm taking Brad Stevens over any other coach in the NBA right now. I'm taking him over Popovich.
But I'll tell you this. I'll take Spoelstra. So you have the first pick and take Brad Stevens. I have the second pick and I'll take Spoelstra. And speaking of the first and the second pick,
I was wondering when you was going to get to it.
speaking of the first and the second pick in our weekend review, hey man, what's up, man? I can't talk about it because that's going to be my closing comments, but what's up with that, man? LeBron picked Durant as his first pick. Now, audience, let me say this. Yes, anyone picking would pick Durant. Durant is arguably the best player, if not the best, the second best player in the NBA. But when you're known as the best player in the NBA, wouldn't you want to play against the person that they say could be better than you?
Yeah, you know what? When I learned that LeBron selected Kevin Durant with the first pick in the All-Star draft, I was so disappointed. It really upset me. And the thing about it, I wasn't shocked because that's LeBron's MO. Team up with the better players to try to win. To me, that's just despicable.
It's disgusting.
It really is. Chahudi, if you and I are on the playground and you and I are the best two players out there and we finally get enough to put a game together, I'm not going to reach for you first. In fact, I'm going to be willing to choose up sides with you so that we're not on the same side because I want to beat you.
Now, let me say this, Rob. Growing up in Ravenswood, we both grew up in Ravenswood. Playing ball in Ravenswood, playing ball in Corona, playing ball in East Elmhurst. Those are the areas that I mainly play ball. I can never say, I got to be honest, that I was the best when I walked out on the court.
I get that.
I mean, I was never the best. My brothers could say that when they played, they may have been the best. I couldn't say that.
I understand.
But if I was picking a team, I would pick a team where someone was known as the best, and I wanted to go up against them and try to prove myself, or at least get some respect and credibility out there.
First of all, LeBron has faced Golden State 3 years in a row in the finals. Lost two of the last
right.
three. Okay? At the end of last year's finals, when Kevin Durant finally gets the championship, and they put the mic to him, I believe, and I'm paraphrasing, he said there was one man in my way that I had to beat, and that was that guy LeBron. And he felt so good about it, he won the MVP. And for LeBron to pick him, and this was an opportunity for LeBron to say, you know what, I'm going to get a team together to beat the Golden State Warriors.
Right. I can't beat them in the in playoffs.
Yeah.
But let me beat them because you knew Curry would pick Durant.
Yeah, he's going to pick Durant with the first pick. So I'm really disappointed in LeBron. I'm not shocked or surprised, but if I'm LeBron, Giannis was my first pick.
But would you have liked to have seen it televised so you could see who the first and the second and third and fourth pick was?
I would have loved to seen it televised.
They missed an opportunity.
They did miss an opportunity. Apparently, they were afraid about these guys with their feelings and so forth.
Well, I mean, we saw what happened with the feelings. Westbrook thought he was the last pick, and he went out and scored 40-some-odd points.
You know what? It could make a good rest of the way to the end of the season. You know, people have chip on their shoulders,
We've been talking about rivalries. That could have created a rivalry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm your last pick?
Yeah.
I'm your last pick? Oh, watch this. Come on, man.
But you're Mr. Irrelevant among the game's best players.
Right, exactly. Come on, man. They missed an opportunity, and stop placating to the egos or the immaturity of players that will get their feelings hurt. Come on, feelings hurt. This is the fans' game. Give the fans what they want.
But here's the thing about the All-Star game I want to speak on. I don't care what the format is. You could play yesteryear's stars for all or you can do America against the world.
International, right.
Yeah, I don't care what the format is. But if these guys do not play somewhat hard, then what good is the new format?
Once again, if I knew that you didn't pick me, I'm coming at you. So if they wanted to create competition, televise it. Let everybody know who your second, your third, your fourth pick was. Oh, wait a minute, you didn't pick me until 8th? Oh, word? Or you didn't pick me at all? You let me sit here? And you didn't pick me? Oh, okay, now we got some trouble here.
Now, I don't know how to word this, but it should be some kind of like big dummy award or something like that.
Okay.
To that effect. But how about Kevin Durant's comments?
I didn't hear it. Do I want to hear it?
He says, they asked him about him being first. He said, pretty much, okay, that's cool. It's an honor. But then they asked him, what do you think about playing against your teammates? Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to going up against Draymond Green and Clay and Curry. Well, if you felt that way, why didn't you stay in OKC? Come on.
You guys are really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you ain't looking forward to that. If that was the case, you should have stayed in OKC where you was up 3 games to 1.
Oh, come on! You know that's a sore spot for me, man. You know that's a sore spot, man. Why you poking me, man?
I told you I didn't know how to word it.
Oh my God! You pour salt on my wound, man. But anyway, so what do you think about the two teams? I think we were talking in the pre-production meeting, and your thoughts are Team LeBron is going to win.
I thought that LeBron had the better team. Prior to
for an All-Star game or a better team?
For the All-Star team, for the All-Star game, I think he had the better team. I think they're a little bit bigger. Usually, the smaller people are a little bit more dynamic in this type of game. But today's big guys is kind of little guys. They play like little guys. But I thought he had the better draft.
Well, when you're the best player in the NBA, and you pick the second best player in the NBA, you already started off with a good draft. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
But I think he has a better team for multiple games and serious basketball. Real coaching, practice, and everything else. For an All-Star game, I like Team Curry.
Okay.
I mean, we'll see in a couple of weeks, but I like Team Curry. Was there anyone, you talked about snubs, were there any players that you felt were snubbed that were justified in their being angry that they were snubbed?
I have 3 people that come to mind that I thought were snubbed. In the East, I thought Kemba Walker was snubbed. Kemba Walker's averaging 22 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 5.8 assists.
Who would you take out?
I think I would have took out Wall.
Okay.
I think I would have took out Wall on that one. And Andre Drummond. This guy leading the league in rebounding at 15.2. He's averaging 14.6 a game, 3.8 assists. And like I mentioned, he's leading the league in rebounding at 15.2.
Who'd you take out?
Coming out of the East, this is a tough one because I do think he earned the right to be there. I think Al Horford comes out.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I think Al Horford comes out. I mean, Al Horford, 13.4, 7.9, and leads his team.
But are those kind of the same numbers as Green?
Is Draymond Green?
Yeah.
Draymond Green is in the West.
I know, but I'm just saying, are those kind of the same numbers?
Yeah. Draymond Green probably has less numbers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He probably
I'm in agreement. I would have probably Al Horford You know, he could have been on the beach. He could have been on the beach.
And he probably would have enjoyed it.
He would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Some rest. But Drummond doesn't move the needle on mine. But you're saying, numbers-wise...
Not necessarily numbers.
No, but he deserved the right to be there.
Yeah. And then in the West, I don't know how you leave Lou Williams out. He's redefining a six-man. He's averaging an unprecedented 23 points a game. And 5.2 assists.
Who would you leave out?
That's a tough one. But I believe they should have found a way to get him in there in the West. It would have been tough. It would have been tough.
But, I mean, if we're going to put him in, we got to take someone out.
I would have chose them over Lillard.
Wow.
I would have chose them over Lillard.
Oh, Lillard would have been pissed.
And maybe Portland would be better going down the stretch. But I would have chosen them over Lillard. What Lou Williams is doing, and I heard Paul Pierce say this. The All-Star game is about rewarding those individuals who's playing great individually. It's not a team award.
Right.
Just because your team is in the playoffs, you should have someone there. Mm-hmm. Or if your team's not in the playoffs, you shouldn't be paid.
Right.
But what Lou Williams is doing, whether he's spot starting or not,
they're borderline playoffs, right?
At 23 points a game as your sixth man and 5.2 assists, it's just phenomenal.
I mean, I agree.
Phenomenal.
I always ask, and that's why I don't deal with the snubs. Who makes it, makes it. Okay? The coaches, we understand the fans pick the starting five. But then it's the coaches, and does the media have any? The media has.
No, the media doesn't have.
They don't have any votes. So it's coaches. Okay.
By the
coaches.
I do want to ask you a question before we go to break. Who's your top 5 MVP right now? Or do you want to go to break and you come back with your answer?
Yeah, let's go to break and I'll come back with my answer.
All right.
So, Rob, out of nowhere, you asked me who are my top 5 MVP players. Off the top of my head, without any real stats and analyzing the play, I would go with. I'm gonna tell you this. This is a controversial one.
Okay.
Stephen Curry.
Okay.
I think he's having one of his best seasons ever.
Quietly too.
Right.
Okay.
He was out quite a few games, but I think what he's doing, and it's not just because of what I saw him do last night. Right. I think he's doing something that is just spectacular beyond what he's done in the past, and he's back-to-back MVP. So if he's beyond what he's done in the past, and he's the only unanimous, and he's having as good, if not a better season, I don't know statistically, but just the eye test, right. I would go with Steph Curry. I would have to go with Kyrie Irving, my favorite player in the NBA today. I would have to deal with DeRozan is having a knockout season.
So that's 3.
That's 3. So there's 2 more. Listen, I'm not a big fan, and his team is somewhat faltering. But some people say you always have to have him in there. I don't necessarily agree with it. But stat-wise, LeBron James is having a great season. So I'd have to put him in there at 4. And I think Harden and
Kevin Durant.
No, Harden and
so Harden.
Paul.
Chris Paul.
Yeah, they're. But I because I haven't had a chance to analyze it, I would go with Harden. But I gotta ask you, why are you asking me this?
No, I was curious, and your order is very curious as well, and not that none of those players don't deserve a nod, or you left out Kevin Durant, surprisingly. And but what if
Do you think Durant is having an MVP season?
Yeah, I think Durant might be Defensive Player of the Year, and he's having an MVP season. I like Kyrie because of his leadership and what he's doing with a team that probably is not as talented as some of the better teams in the league, and he's keeping that afloat, and he's an extension to Brad Stevens and the maturity that he shows. I think his MVP status goes beyond the stats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Stephen Curry, there was a graph just within the last 24 hours that showed his first year compared to this year when he won the MVP. The numbers is basically the same, if not better this year.
Mm.
You know, Kevin Durant, I mentioned. LeBron, DeRozan's not a bad choice. Harden is not a bad choice.
But you got something.
But the reason why I ask you this, and I don't know where to put him, all right? But he's averaging 26 points a game, 10 assists a game, and 9.8 rebounds a game. And he's on the verge of possibly having back-to-back triple-double seasons, and his team is rising with an 8-game winning streak. Where do you put Westbrook? He's got to be at the top of the MVP. Top three. He's got to be among the top three right now.
That's interesting.
He's got to be there.
And like I said, without checking stats, just going off the top, and when you go off the top, you deal with the appearance, how things appear to be.
Right.
And they started off shaky. He didn't, start off like an MVP.
Right.
He's playing MVP ball now. I'd have to look at it. I'd like to see it sustained. I'd like to see the team to continue to win. But you're right.
How do you not give him any consideration? He's about to average another triple-double. I mean, back-to-back seasons.
So where would you put Harden? Not on there.
I think what's hurt Harden is Chris Paul. He takes away from some of the things that make Harden an MVP.
But have you checked his stats? I mean, how does his stats compare to last year?
All right, well, his scoring is where it was. His assists, they got two players over there, him and Chris Paul. They're both averaging like 9 assists a game. That's probably something you haven't seen before. But it's just something about Harden that prevents me from putting him in the top 3. I may have him in the top 5 because right now my order is Kyrie, Steph, Westbrook, Durant, and really I'm stopped right there.
And so you don't have LeBron?
I mean, him and Harden is 5'6", flip-flop.
Yeah, well, you mean him and Durant?
No.
Because you had Harden. Harden. Okay, Harden. Okay,
is
okay.
5'6".
Okay.
You can flip-flop. But Westbrook is top 3 right now.
I want to get serious
Yes.
for a second.
Sure.
I went on a rant earlier in our Deep Hoop season because when Fizdale was fired.
Yes.
And I said that I was going to label this, not making light of it, but sometimes you got to make light of something. You got to laugh to keep from crying. With everything that we have going on in the world today, I don't want to make this into a big thing, but injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And I'm not saying that Jason Kidd's firing is injustice from a racial situation. But man, another black coach bites the dust. Another brother bites the dust. And, during the middle of the season, they said, well, they started losing and they're now at an 8th seed. But honestly, the teams between 5 and 8, only at the most 2 games separate them. So they can go on a winning streak and then begin to, come back. I don't want to continue to beat the drum, but somebody needs to look at this, man. No black ownership except for Michael Jordan. Very few black general managers. The guy in New Orleans, my man in Toronto, New York, right?
Magic Johnson.
Well, Magic is the owner, right?
No,
he's the president.
He's president.
President of operations, right? All right, and Magic. I'm just saying, man. I'm not feeling it. What are your thoughts on Jason Kidd's firing?
Well, I'm not going to say much because I've sat here and convinced myself that's going to be my closing comment.
Okay.
But I want to say this. I don't think Jason Kidd should have been fired.
No.
His record in Milwaukee in the last 3.5 seasons is only 139 and 152. It's not like he was doing a stellar job, but he was doing well for them. When he took over the team, his first year they were 41 and 41, lost in the first round. There was a reason why they hired him, because they weren't getting nothing done prior to him getting there. Second year they regressed. They went to 33-49, but they had some injuries. Came back last year 42-40, second in the Central behind Cleveland, to lose in the first round. As you mentioned, yeah, they may be in 8th place at 23 and 22 under his leadership, but only a few games separate them from being in the 5th spot. All he needed was to go 3 out of 4, and they probably was in the 5th spot.
He also had to bring in a new point guard,
right,
that had to become acclimated to the system.
I think that the trade of Bledsoe may have hurt the team. I think the team was going in the right direction with Malcolm Brogdon, the Rookie of the Year point guard from last season, leading the way along with Giannis. Bledsoe's a very good player. I just don't think that his addition, at the subtraction of Greg Monroe, which gave them a big that came off the bench that could score, was helpful for the team. Mm-hmm. And having to make adjustments on the fly might have been a little bit challenging. But I'm not saying that Jason Kidd is a top 5 coach in this league, and I'm not saying that he wasn't capable of being fired. I just thought the timing of the firing was wrong. And when you look around, as you said, it just seems like the leash is shorter on black head coaches.
I like to see when he or Mike Woodson gets another shot, when Fizdale gets another shot, because white coaches get fired. I'm not going to say that they don't, but at least they get another shot. Vogel is down in Orlando, and they ain't doing a great job.
He started off the season, had us thinking he was going to make the playoffs.
If he makes the playoffs, he's going to buy a ticket like you and me.
He's buying a ticket.
So we can go on, and I'm very careful to make things racial. I'm very careful about, using the race card. But, sometimes that card has to be dealt. When you're dealt something, you got to call it what it is.
Got to call it for what it is.
So Jason Kidd, I want to see you back in the NBA coaching. And we'll be right back. Also, coming up in the during the All-Star break, we've had this contentious relationship between the players and the refs. And so they think that let's sit down with the Players Association and the Referees Association and solve it. And Van Gundy, I think, says things sometimes, just to get a rise. He's almost like the Ra of ABC. And sometimes I listen to Van Gundy, I say, man, did you listen to Ra? But he said something the other day. No, they don't need to meet. Refs call better calls, and players stop complaining about the calls, period.
Yeah, my thing is this. All right, the meeting, it seems like the right thing to do. Is it necessary? Probably not. I have a bigger question. And I had a conversation with a good friend of ours, John Bailey, on that. My question is, what is the protocol or the criteria to become an NBA ref? I mean, if you coached a couple of Little League games throughout the summer for the last 5 years, can you go and put that on your resume?
I think it's a little more than that, right? But what is it? But I did hear to that point, and I forgot who said it, but they were talking about there's a lot of young refs that have just entered because you had a lot of people retire, and so you have a lot of young refs. And, of course, whenever you have entry level, you're in car sales. You get that new person that comes into car sales, and he may miss sales that a veteran would be able to get. He's going to miss some things. And that's to be, it's the human element. My challenge is, and Van Gundy said this, I don't mind you arguing when you're right. But when you know you just fouled someone, you just did it. It was seen. You know you did it.
But are they arguing because they feel they're right, or are they arguing because they know they can? And did the NBA, and I gotta go back to David Stern on this, did the NBA put the NBA in a position where the players think they're bigger than the game?
I think they have. I think they do think they are. It's about their brand. But don't they know that they're tarnishing their brand? See, that's my whole thing. Who's advising them? Whenever you look like a crying baby, you're not doing good for your brand.
And I'm going to tell you something, and maybe you might find this surprising, but I might be of the minority when I say this. But I like the idea they're throwing Kevin Durant out of the games.
And so do I.
I like the fact that they're giving these guys technical. Now, whether it's warranted or not, or it's obsessive or whatever the case is, but it's telling me that they're not having it. And just because you're Kevin Durant, what makes you any different than the 11th player on the bench?
But I like what Kevin Durant said. And me giving Kevin Durant a compliment doesn't happen. But he did apologize. He said, I acted like a jerk or whatever he said.
But again, I want to go back to the criteria. I mean, are these referees coming from the G League that's been there 5 years? Are they coming from college that may have been refereeing for 5 to 10 years? Or are they coming fresh out of no league?
Out of the YMCA?
Yeah, I mean, where are they coming from? Because here's the thing. You're coaching grown people. You're coaching guys
at the highest level.
At the highest level. You're coaching guys that are divas. You're coaching guys that feel that they're bigger than the game. And then remember, you're dealing with a generation, and I know you have children. I have children too. That just think they're entitled to everything. So if you have a weak referee or a referee with a weak resume, these guys gonna walk all over them. It's almost like, remember when we had a substitute teacher? I mean, chances are they went home with a headache that day.
But I had a few that came in and laid down the law when they walked in the room. They wasn't tolerating it. They wasn't putting up with it. And they would throw us out the game like they threw Durant out. And you know what? I respect that. I respect that. But at the end of the day, they are acting like divas. And once again, they worry about their brand. But don't they see where that's tarnishing their brand?
Well, it's funny when Kobe had that issue in Denver. It was almost like people was treating him like, now he's got his stripes. And the thing about it is, when we talk about a Kevin Durant who had this good guy, good boy persona, now all of a sudden he's thug life. You know what I mean? Is that what you have to do to try to earn your stripes? Because he is totally night and day from OKC to Golden State.
I'm going to end with this. I don't like it. I think refs need to, listen, they have the instant replay, make better calls. I mean, I've seen them blow some calls, but it's the human element. They miss some shots. That's the human element, okay? At the end of the day, all I want to say is stop arguing every call. Then it makes the argument more relevant. If you're crying, the boy that cried wolf, I know your parents told you that. I don't even know who the boy is, but they told me about the boy that cried wolf.
We all know him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I heard about him. I ain't never seen him.
We may have been there. You know what all the time. But the point is, you're right, and we could close on that is knock it off.
Shut up.
And play ball.
Right.
You're a gifted group.
And the classy ones will walk up and say, "You missed that call,"
Yeah.
and just walk away.
Just walk away. And you know what? When we had trouble in the streets, we let our parents handle it.
Let your coach handle it. Let your coach handle it. Mr. Royal, Mr. Woodard. Let them handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So the week coming up, they missed an opportunity. Minnesota is hosting the Super Bowl.
Right.
Normally, they try to have an NBA game on that Sunday or at least that weekend that is televised so that you can see all the stars that are coming out for the Super Bowl at your NBA game. Big photo op.
Right.
They don't have that. Now, so I'm going to go over the games. You tell me, and maybe there's some games that, scream out to you. But tomorrow night, Monday night, Philly versus Milwaukee could be a good game. Could be.
Could be. Philly coming off a loss today.
Right.
And Milwaukee's in need of anything.
Anything right now. OKC on Tuesday. So Tuesday you have OKC versus Washington, which should be a good game.
And it's in Washington this time.
Right.
Westbrook demoralized John Wall.
Yeah, so, there's got to be some little payback. And, Westbrook is going to be up. He's up for every game.
Every game.
Will Wall be playing? Because I know he sat out the other night.
Yeah, matter of fact, he's doubtful for that.
Okay, he's doubtful. He's probably doubtful because he don't want to face him again. Now, I'll come back the next night. But on that same night, you got Minnesota versus Toronto.
Should
Good
be
game.
good. Should be good.
That should be a good game.
Should be a good game.
And then on Thursday, you have Toronto versus Washington. I guess that's when Wall say, "I'll come back."
Yeah, they're gonna need him, and that should be a good game. And here's the thing: if he's not back, I can see 2 losses and them sliding.
Sliding to where? Where are they
Right now, they are
6th.
5th.
They're 5th.
They're 5th. And I can
But
see
once again, there's like 2 games between 5 and 8, right?
And the thing about it, if the playoffs was to end today, they play in Miami on the road in the first round. You slide to 6, you get Cleveland. You slide to 7, you get Toronto.
Maybe they want to stay in.
You probably want to be 4 or 5.
4 or 5, right?
Yeah.
All right. As it stands today, and then on Thursday, Milwaukee versus Minnesota, and Houston is the game on TNT versus San Antonio.
One thing about San Antonio is a lot like Boston. You're going to get maximum effort. I watched that game against Cleveland when they beat Cleveland, and you're going to get maximum effort.
We didn't talk about it, and I know we're dealing with time. Kawhi. Does he leave San Antonio? Do they resolve it? Is it just a whole lot of fake news?
I think it's fake news.
You do.
I think it's fake news. That's not the San Antonio way, is to let someone get away. And especially someone that everybody had Hall of Fame career written on him. I just don't see them letting them get away.
Who says no? Brandon Ingram for Kawhi Leonard and Brandon Ingram and a few other pieces.
I think San Antonio says no. LA would say yes in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
In a heartbeat.
Just imagine. And for you Laker fans, and I'm not one, if you get Kawhi Leonard for a Brandon Ingram trade along with a Jordan Clarkson, something like that, and he's now in your fold for the next 4 to 5 years, how easy would it be for Klay Thompson to come in?
And that's the rebuild that I'd like to see the Lakers do, as opposed to just trying to buy George and I think that, you're giving up something to get something. That's that wheeling and dealing, and you're putting together a team as opposed to just names.
And what a Christmas gift that would be for Lonzo Ball. Ooh. To have those 2 guys on the wings to distribute.
Right, and then the defense that Kawhi Leonard and Klay Thompson bring. Oh. So, then on Friday you have New Orleans versus OKC. Could be. Could be a good game. We get to see what New Orleans is going to really look like without
DeMarcus Cousins.
Right.
And shout out to DeMarcus Cousins and Andre Robertson as, two players that key contributors on their team. Cousins was having a phenomenal season. Speedy recovery to both of y'all. Get well soon. Look forward to you guys coming back next year. Really a tough loss, tough break for New Orleans.
Yeah, but I think that they can recover. And then Saturday we have Cleveland versus Houston, which is the Saturday night game. Should be a good game. Should be something to look forward to. Let's see what Cleveland is going to do with their shaking up their lineup. And we still have some time before trade deadline. Maybe there's a trade before then.
That's going to be a good game to watch. Anytime Cleveland is playing in prime time, they always get the best of the opposing team. And I'm sure Houston is going to be looking at this could be a possible matchup in the finals. And they're going to take it serious. So should be fun to watch. Should be a good game.
I don't see either one of them in the finals, but I can understand why they would see that.
Yeah.
Okay. And but did you hear what I said? I don't see either one of them in the
agree
finals.
with you.
Okay.
I don't think neither one of them will be there either.
But the Sunday game, Super Bowl Sunday. Now all eyes are probably going to be on football, but
Yeah.
I mean, sports fans getting ready. You're going to have hours and hours of pregame shows. So NBA, come on, put something on that people want to see. Put something on that's going to make the eyeballs say, you know what? I don't want to watch this pregame show. I want to watch the NBA. OKC and the Lakers.
Well, here's the thing. Westbrook's a draw. Lonzo Ball's a draw. I'm trying to get tickets to the Laker game down here. It's already sold out, and prices is like crazy. So I can understand it. I just would have went with a better matchup.
I would have gone with a better matchup.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Y'all know what y'all are doing. All right. That's it for that. Let's go to our closing comments. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm going to have to go there this time. And a lot of times when we talk about topics or issues that's controversy, my good friend, co-host, Minister, he usually goes that route. But I'm going to take it upon myself to go that route. I'm pissed off at the firing of Jason Kidd. I'm not saying that he's this great coach, and I'm not saying that he deserves to be with them for 2-3 years. And I'm not saying he's not deserving of being fired. But I think the timing of his firing was wrong. I think that he earned the right to finish the season. We look around the league. We had Earl Watson fired early on. What has Phoenix done since then? Nothing. We had Fizdale, because maybe Mark Gasol wanted him fired. What has they done since then? And we're talking about Fizdale, who I think will have no problem finding a job at the end of the year. Earl Watson was early on in his career. I don't know if he's going to have the ability to find a job as easy as maybe Fizdale, but neither one of them deserved to have been fired at the time they were fired, and nor does Jason Kidd. Sure, these numbers is not going to jump out at you. In 3.5 seasons, Jason Kidd is 139 and 152 with Milwaukee. He's had 2 trips to the playoffs. They're both first-round exits. But he did have them in the 8th spot or 7th spot, I believe, during the time of the fire, in the 7th spot, and only about 2-3 games out of the 5th spot. But what I do want to bring to your attention is this. Mark Jackson took over the Golden State Warriors. They were bad. His first year, they were 23 and 43. His second year, 47 and 38. His third year, 51 and 31. We haven't seen from Mark Jackson, except for on the sidelines at ESPN games. Does he deserve another chance? Was he a good coach? Absolutely. I look at Mike Woodson. When he took over the teenage Atlanta Hawks that were awful in 2004-05 season, it was 13 and 69. And then the next season, he went 26 and 56. The next year, he went 30 and 52. He went 37 and 45. Then he went 47 and 35 and went 53 and 29 in a span of 6 seasons. He made them a perennial playoff team. He went to New York as assistant coach after they let him go after a year being away from the game. And midway through the season, he gets a chance to coach the Knicks because they let go of Mike D'Antoni. And he went 18 and 6 in the final 24 games of that season. And then he turned around the following year and won 53 games with the New York Knicks. Yeah, the next year they regressed, and they went 37-45, and Phil Jackson let them go. But he's also on the sidelines with Doc Rivers with the Los Angeles Clippers. Does this guy deserve another chance? But we watched Terry Stotts, who repeatedly gets into the first round of the playoffs and lose with the Portland Trailblazers. But his job is secure. We look at Rick Carlisle. What has he done since that championship year? 6 seasons later, 4 first-round exits, 2 missed playoffs. His job is secure. Washington Wizards should be better than what they are. They have an over 500 record against teams 500 and better, but they have a bad record with teams at 500 or less. But yeah, Wall gets the blame for that. But why not Scott Brooks? But I guarantee you this. If Toronto is a first-round exit, Dwayne Casey would be out of job. Guys, you tell me, is there differences? You tell me if the leashes are shorter on the black head coaches than they are on the white head coaches. Or the range, I should say, that's given. At some point, this has got to stop. Never mind that there's only one black owner in the game. Never mind the fact there's only maybe a handful of teams that have black personnel for management, upper management, in a league that's dominated by about 75 to 80% black players. When does this stop? It's a double standard, and it's not right. And quite frankly, I'm pretty pissed off about it.
Well, Rob, you know I'm pissed off about it. And I hate to see my man pissed off, but I'm glad that you are pissed off. And I hope more of you out there. And here's the thing. Black people should not be the only people pissed off. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Yeah. And what we have to say is the same standard should be held for every coach, no matter the race, no matter the creed, no matter the color, no matter the religion. Give them the same equal opportunity. Good stuff, Rob. Well, I do a prayer call 4 days a week. And Sundays, I do a prayer call every morning at 7 a.m. And I did a prayer call. I am a true minister, okay? And I did a prayer call this morning, and I talked about not complaining. There's a gospel song, I won't complain. I have my good days, I have my bad days, but I won't complain. And I was talking about that because I get into conversations with people, and all I hear them do is complaining. I mean, complaining about the weather, complaining about their job. And I said, I'm going to start 2018, I won't complain. I said that this morning. I lied. I'm about to complain. In spirit, forgive me. But I'm going to complain about the same 2 people that I've been complaining about for the longest. But this time, Durant is not to blame, but he's in the story. LeBron, how do you do this? You're supposed to be the best player in the NBA, dude. Number 1. And they tell you that Durant is closing in on you. Durant beat you in the finals. Durant is catching up with you. Some people say, dare they say it? He's already passed you, LeBron, that you're over the hill. And so what do in LeBron fashion? I want to play with him. Huh? No respectful player playing in basketball in the streets, schoolyard, maybe AAU they'll do that. Anywhere else, they're going to say, you know what? You're supposed to be the best? I ain't picking you. Go play with your boy Steph Curry. I'm going to pick the Greek Freak, and we're going to beat you. But LeBron and his brand, he can't lose. But here's the funny thing. You're going to lose. I'm going with Team Steph. I want to see the 2 babies, the 2 front runners that want to play with the best and don't want to compete against the best, lose. Everyone else on that team, and one of my favorite players is on that team, Kyrie Irving. My second favorite player is on that team, Russell Westbrook. Guys, I can't root for you because you got the two babies leading the front. LeBron, next time, if you get to pick first, don't pick the next best player in the NBA. Pick someone that's up and coming because you are LeBron James. You called yourself King James? Not my kind of King James. I'll go with the new international version as opposed to the King James version in this one. LeBron, I hope you lose. And that's my closing comments.
Hey, the two favorite players used to play with the two players you could play with.
Exactly.
How about that?
Exactly. But they played with LeBron. LeBron was like, I want you again, Kyrie, please. I didn't want you to leave. He knows what it's about. But listen, I am complaining a little bit, but I won't complain. Life is so great. We get a chance to do this. We hope that you enjoy it because we enjoy doing it. It is really, we're not being paid. It's a passion. We love what we do, and we hope that you tune in. We have email. What's the email again, Rob?
It is deephoopsinfo@gmail.com.
And it's going to be right here, right there, and it'll be right here or right there or over here. It'll be somewhere. We also have our Twitter. We have our Facebook, and we've just seen a surge in our Facebook, people liking our Facebook page. So continue to follow us. Get with us on YouTube. Watch the videos and kick back, talk back. Holler back at us and let us know what you're thinking. I am the minister.
And I'm Rob.
And we'd like to thank you for joining us because remember, I can't even talk now. Remember, we're not experts, but we're passionate fans talking about the game that we love. Peace.